Hello everyone, this is International Rations here again, and today for you I have a Lithuanian Single Meal Ration. This one is the variant or menu number 9, and this should be a stewed chicken with rice, I believe. But without any further ado, let's just get right into this. This has 1300 kcals, and it is 0.67 kilograms, so it's a pretty big package here for just one meal. Without any further ado, let's get into this and see if it can be opened by hand. Alright, so after a short struggle, I was able to get this open with my hands. Let's see what we have here. Alright, first up we have what looks like some sort of accessory pack. We got some chocolate in there, as well as a couple other things. Let's see what we have. Alright, so we've got a pack of chocolate. We've got a tub of something. I believe this would be honey, but let me give it a quick check on that. Alright, so after checking with Google Translate, this is a black currant jam. This is a 5-gram package of sugar. A pea soup with breadcrumbs. And a instant drink with cherry concentrated juice powder. These are both 20-gram packages. Ice Mint chewing gum by Food Force. Let me try to open this package up a bit wider. Alright, that should do the trick. Alright, I would assume this is our main meal, but let's give this an open and see what we got. Alright, here we go. This is a stewed pork with pearl barley mash. It's not quite what I was expecting, but it sounds pretty good. Alright, and we also have a flameless ration heater by Pacma. And this looks like this was just a little menu that it came with. Alright. We've got some Migdoli almonds. Let's see here. This is says net quantity, see on package. This is a 100-gram packet, looks like. Alright, we've got a interesting looking ration spoon. It looks like it might be some sort of a recycled plastic. It's also poking through the package a little bit, but that's not really a problem. Let's go ahead and take this out. Alright, we also have a package of Degtukai matches. Not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but that's my best guess. This has a picture of some sort of a dragon or something like that. Not sure if that means anything in Lithuania or if that's just a cool picture they thought of putting on their matches. Alright, we've got some flameless ration tabs. We got 3 of those. And what I noticed is really nice is that they give you a flameless ration heater as well as a stove, which is very nice in my opinion. That way you can both heat your meal as well as boil water and heat anything else you might need. What we have here is a refreshing towelette. And there's still something else in here. This is our folding tray for food heating. So flameless ration, a little stove for these fuel tabs. Let's put that right there. Alright, we don't have much else. We've got a package of 4 of these Rusks SU1. I believe rusks is basically like a hard cracker. It's not a word I heard of ever used in English, though. I believe these are Polish crackers, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks like that's everything that came in the ration. So it looks like we have a pretty good spread of food. Let me just get this out of the way here. We've got two ways of heating our food. We've got a nice drink as well as a soup. We've got some jam to go with our crackers. And we also have some chewing gum, sugar, a drink, and chocolate. So all of this looks pretty interesting. I'm going to go ahead and get this plated and get the FRH heated up, and I will see you then. All right, so let me try to get this to the fill line. All right, it's already reacting. Looks like that's right about to the fill line. That was an extremely quick reaction. I'm pretty impressed. So let's fold this over, gently shake it. All right, I went ahead and put that in the pouch there, and I'm just gonna fold this or lean this up against something. It is already reacting very strongly and extremely hot, and it smells pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this over, and that should be very hot in 10 or 12 minutes. Alright, I just wanted to jump in and say thank you to Rome Tech Supplies. The reason it took so long for this video to get out was that I unfortunately had some significant technical issues with the computer that I use for editing these videos. One of the things that I thought was wrong with it originally was the CMOS battery, since it constantly lost time on the system clock. So I went ahead and reached out and ordered one from a place called Rome Tech Supplies. You can see me unpackaging it and taking a look at it in the background video that's playing. After I ordered it, they were kind enough to reach out by email and offer to ship it free of charge in exchange for a YouTube review. I had a great experience with them throughout the entire order, and the battery even got here a couple days ahead of schedule, so I jumped at the deal. Unfortunately, it turned out that there were more serious issues with my computer than I originally thought, so that's what really threw off my schedule quite significantly. Overall, though, I can definitely recommend Rome Tech if you have a need for any kind of CMOS battery. They are actually running a spring sale right now, so now is the perfect time for that. They also carry batteries for key fobs and watches, as well as stuff like phone and AirPods cases and more. So if you have a need for anything like that, if you have a battery go bad or if you need a phone case, go ahead and jump over to the link in my description and grab one of those. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go ahead and get back to the video. Alright, and you can still hear that sound, I would imagine, over the camera. Without any further ado, let's next up move this tray out of the way a little bit and try to get this cherry instant drink with cherry concentrated powder mixed up. Alright, I don't know how well you can see that, but it's a very pink looking powder. It smells pretty good. It has a faint cherry smell. Pretty good amount of powder in there. Alright, and the powder color reminds me a lot of the Russian ration. I believe it was a raspberry. Well, actually, come to think of it, I think we had a raspberry and a cherry as well. And this looks very similar to both of those in color. I don't know how well you can see that over there. But the color is definitely extremely similar, at least by my eye. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and try this. It's extremely faint. I was not expecting that at all. It's a very light flavor. Next up here, let's go ahead and open these Rusks SU1. It says right here the factory that makes them was open since 1765. So that's pretty impressive. I don't know if we really have anything like that here in the United States that has been open since then. Obviously, that's before the United States was even a country, so quite an old factory. I wonder if they kept their recipe. Alright, here we go. They have a nice toasted look, and a little piece already broke off. They break fairly easy. Without any further ado, I'm just going to try this. It has a very kind of smoky flavor, sort of when you get a blackened crust on a pizza. Overall, it's certainly a different kind of taste. I wouldn't say it's my favorite cracker I've ever had. They're not bad, but they are very plain. I think they will make a fine platform for this jam, and maybe even for this soup. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a knife, and I'm going to try this jam. Alright, so I've got a knife here. I'm going to go ahead and open this jam, and that cracker really has just an interesting flavor that just kind of, uh, it just kind of stays on your tongue after a while. It's very interesting. It's not too bad, but it's definitely not my favorite either. Go ahead and try a little bit of this blackcurrant jam. That is incredibly flavorful, especially when you compare it with this cherry flavored drink. This is just a massive explosion of flavor. I think it'll pair really well with these rather unflavorful crackers here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little dollop of this on here. And let's see if it's any good. It's certainly very interesting. It's actually not as good as I thought it would be. The jam is incredible, but these crackers are honestly just a little bit strange. They're like I said, not too bad, but they have a very unique flavor that kind of off-puts anything put on them. Regardless, the jam is really quite good, so I'll definitely be pairing this up with this cracker, and I'll be finishing it off, and then we will get on to the soup. Alright, so the instructions for the soup call for, let's see here. Pour the contents of the bag with 300 milliliters of hot boiled water. Alright, there's the soup. It smells quite strong of vegetables and herbs, so that's probably a pretty good sign. Alright, there we go. As you can see, it does have some sort of vegetable or herbs or something like that in there at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and pull this water in. Pour it in, I mean. It's not quite boiled, I don't think, but it's about as close as I could get. And it is extremely hot. Alright, here we go. It's a nice cloudy soup, and it's rather a tan or beige color. As you can see, we've got a lot of spices and herbs floating up to the top. I'm going to go ahead and set that here and let it try to cool down just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and try these almonds. Alright, here we go. As you can see, nice portion of almonds. They look very normal and almondy, I suppose. Nothing too strange about them by appearance. Let's go ahead and see if they're pretty good tasting. Pretty normal almonds. Not extremely flavorful, but most almonds aren't. They might have lost a little bit of flavor from being stored for a long time, but I'm not really sure about that. It might just be kind of their natural flavor. Most almonds aren't very flavorful, but they're not bad at all. They're pretty good, pretty regular almonds, and they're a pretty solid side. Alright, this soup is definitely still hot enough to burn my tongue, so I'm going to grab a swig of this drink, and then we're going to be plating the main entree. Alright, as you can still hear, it's still reacting with this pad a bit, the heating pad, but it's plenty hot enough. So I'm going to go ahead and tear it at point B. Alright, here we go. That's what it looks like in there. It's still very hot, so I'm going to try to avoid touching this package too much, especially towards the center. And let's pour this out. Alright, there we go. It looks like a very nice entree. It's still a little clumped up. I'm going to have to grab a spoon and spread this around a bit. But it looks like a solid entree and one that would taste pretty good with some crackers in it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video, give the stuff a chance to cool down, and grab some utensils. Alright, let's try to spread this out a little bit. Try to get it a little less clumpy. I think this might be a kind of solid chunks of meat, mixed in with a little bit of buckwheat or whatever it was it said it was. I think maybe barley. Let me check on that real quick. Alright, this is a stewed pork with a pearl barley mash. So definitely something, if you ask me, that would go quite well with a little bit of crackers. So let's get this all mashed up a bit, a little more presentable. And as you can see, it's a pretty respectable serving size. This one is 100 grams, it says here. So let me go ahead and give the soup a try first. Gonna mix it up, and hopefully it's not too hot. That's still an extremely hot soup, so I'm not gonna be drinking too much of that. But it is a pretty nice flavor. It's quite plain and just a regular pea soup. Something you would expect to be mixed with powder and water. It's not incredibly flavorful, but it's definitely not bad at all. It's just a very simple and pretty regular soup. I'm going to go ahead and try to dip a little bit of this cracker in with it. All right, and let's see how this tastes. It's pretty good. Once it cools down, I will probably be eating it with crackers just like that. The crackers pair quite well with the soup. They still have that kind of interesting taste to them. I don't think there's anything wrong with them, and I wouldn't say they're bad. Just a little different from other crackers that I've had in the past. But without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and try a little bit of this, let's see, stewed pork with, I believe it was barley mash. Hopefully this won't burn my tongue. Let's go ahead and try this here. It's quite a simple, hearty meal. I got mostly barley there. I'm going to try to get a bite with a little bit more of this pork and a little less barley. There are no overbearing flavors or spices. It's a very down-to-earth, just kind of regular, hearty meal. I really quite like it. I'll definitely be finishing it. Let's go ahead and try it with a little bit of this cracker in here. Let's go ahead and see how this tastes. It's pretty good. Once again, that cracker flavor is really quite pronounced. It's a little off-putting, like I said, but it's still quite good mixed with this, so I'm definitely going to be breaking this cracker up and mixing it in with the stew for a little bit of added flavor and texture. Like I said, it's a really good hearty meal. I will definitely be finishing it and finishing up the soup, and then we can go ahead and get right along to the chocolate. Alright, so I went ahead and finished up with that stew and the soup, and I must say it was really quite good. Let's try this rata. I believe that would be maybe it's ruta. Either way, I believe that's Lithuanian for chocolate, but perhaps it's the brand. You have it in English, and I believe this is German. Could be another similar language, though. Alright, so we have 2 blocks here, and I must say, this is some very fancy looking chocolate for a ration. We've got a nice sort of chocolate bar, kind of gold bar almost shape, with the very nice and clear brand logo on there. So let's go ahead, break off a piece. It's a little warm here, so the chocolate's kind of sweating a little bit, but shouldn't be a problem. Let's go ahead and see if this is any good. And that is a pretty good bar of chocolate. It's very deep, it's very rich. I would imagine there's a very high concentrate of cocoa here. 75% cocoa and high fiber, I believe, if I'm understanding that correctly. And in warmer environments, you can see these get messy very quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and scarf this down and then give you my final thoughts on the ration. Alright, after finishing that chocolate, now is the perfect time to try this refreshing towelette before we get into that gum. And it works just fine. It has a kind of nice, pleasant kind of lemon scent. But with that aside, let's go ahead and get into the gum. This is Ice Mint Chewing Gum. It is sugar-free and instead uses artificial sweeteners. Excessive consumption may produce laxative effects, so it's a good thing they only gave us 2, I suppose. Alright, that is a very artificial blue. Let's go ahead and try this. But it's a very strong, very minty flavor. Overall, a very regular gum. So let's go ahead and save that other piece for later. Alright, last thing we have here that I'm going to try today are just these matches. And they have blue heads, which is very interesting. Never seen those before. Always red, kind of phosphorus colored heads. But let's see if this strikes. And that struck extremely easily. Very nice. Should burn for long enough to light whatever you're trying to light on fire. Just a pretty regular match, although I will say it did light pleasantly easy. Alright, so that about does it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I know I certainly did. I thought the ration was quite well thought out and that the components were tasty as well. I especially enjoyed the main course, the buckwheat with the pork. I thought it was quite tasty, and it's also not something you get to see here in the US every day. I'd also like to apologize again for how long this video took to get out. Like I mentioned, there were some pretty severe technical issues with my computer that I use for editing these videos, so I really just couldn't do anything with that for a while. But in the future, we should have plenty of videos getting out fairly regularly. We have a couple coming up that I'm quite excited about. The next one will be a British 24-hour ORP ration, so hopefully there will be some good tea in there. Overall, that about does it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, go ahead and give me a like and a comment with what you'd like to see next. If you didn't like the video, go ahead and give it a dislike and a comment with some constructive criticism on how I could improve. And if you are looking forward to that 24-hour British ration like I am, go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell notification button. I hope to see you there.